Yeah, I'll admit I haven't seen a Canadiens game in a while. It's been a few weeks, actually, mostly because of the regional blackouts, the fact that I was on a trip over the weekend, and I just got back 2 days ago, but I've been following the stories, don't get me wrong. I've been seeing the things that my second favorite team has gotten up to, the fact that they've now broken the NHL record for all-time man games lost due to injury. That's pretty bizarre that they didn't break that earlier, but they have it now, so there you go. The 2021-2022 Canadiens are officially the most injured team in NHL history, so good for them. I do know that Carey Price did make his return. It's amazing to see Carey Price make his return, but I also do know that the return hasn't really been great, and that's not really Carey Price's fault now, isn't it? So, just making a quick update here because I feel like this is kind of important to acknowledge. Carey Price has indeed returned to the National Hockey League. He's played 2 games so far for the Canadiens in 2021-2022, and in both of those games he has allowed 4 goals against, which is not bad in the slightest. He's got a .202 goals against average in 2 games played, and in fact, you go over what exactly was he did in those games. In the first game against the Islanders, he had himself a 17-save performance on 19 shots, so he led in 2. This was kind of a game where Ilya Sorokin stepped up and stole things away because the Canadiens lost 3-0, and then you see what the Canadiens did against the Minnesota Wild yesterday, and you had Carey Price in net. The guy made 28 saves on 30 shots. He had a .933 save percentage, and the Canadiens lost 2-0. I know there was a disallowed goal in there that kind of changed the entire momentum of the game for the Montreal Canadiens when Tyler Pitlick did not tie the game up at 1 apiece, but either way, if you go over to Carey Price in the games that he has played, this is a stat that showed up on Reddit that I kind of like a lot, which is why I'm making this video. The Montreal Canadiens have scored 0 goals in their last 3 games with Carey Price in net. 2-0 against Minnesota, 3-0 against the Islanders, and 1-0 against Tampa Bay, which was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals, almost a full calendar year ago. And because this video is a really short one, you know there isn't really anything else to say about that other than, haha, LMAO, Montreal Canadiens. Talk about Carey Price coming back to the worst case scenario. Like, I mean, I get it, just seeing him back is a good thing, and just seeing him playing out there with the guys, making the calm saves, doing the routines that Carey Price has done over the past decade and a bit, it's great. But talk about playing for your goaltender. I know there was a big spark, and there was a big boost of adrenaline, and you saw the overall output that this team was trying to produce when they did have Price in net, but it's just, he still got 0 goals. You got 0. That's not the fault of the other goaltender. Oh my goodness, it's Ilya Sorokin's fault that the Canadiens could not get any goals against the Islanders. They put on a clinic, and they only lost because Ilya Sorokin. Oh, it's Cam Talbot's fault that the Canadiens couldn't score any goals in 60 minutes of play against the Minnesota Wild when the game was close the entire time. Like, Carey Price is just back with the Habs, and it's not really the same Habs team that went to the finals. It's just the Habs of this year. It's the corpse, a shell of the Canadiens that existed last year, but isn't really the same this year. You have Mike Hoffman not being all too great. I see a lot of people getting pissed off at that guy for the decisions he makes on the power play nowadays. You also have Brendan Gallagher not playing with Danault and Tatar anymore, thus his effectiveness when scoring goals is significantly reduced. And I mean, Cole Caulfield is a one-man show, but still, he didn't score on any of the games that Carey Price has played so far. There are a few games left, right? 6 games left for the Montreal Canadiens. You're probably going to see Carey Price in one of them, and hopefully he gets some goal support, because if he doesn't get any this upcoming time, then it would be literally like over a calendar year, or no, it would be almost a calendar year since Carey Price got actual goal support in the National Hockey League, which is wild to see. If you told anybody in, what is it, like Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year, July 5th, that was a 3-2 Canadiens win in overtime. That was the Josh Anderson goal set up by Cole Caulfield. What if I told you back in July that Josh Anderson goal would be the last piece of goal support the Canadiens would give to Carey Price in almost a full year? July 5th was, how many months is that? August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's been 9 months. You could have had a baby then. That baby is born now. And the Canadiens have not given Carey Price a goal since then. That is wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, no, that's Minnesota wild. But the Montreal Canadiens do indeed have themselves a schedule that sees them playing. Let's see who they have next up on the list here. Philadelphia tomorrow. That should be a pretty easy game to score in because the Flyers are not really the best team this season. The Canadiens play the Senators on Saturday, the Bruins on Sunday, the Rangers on Wednesday. Oh, good luck trying to beat Igor and the defense that is the New York Rangers. And then they have the Florida Panthers. So they're ending off the season with some pretty difficult games against Boston, New York, and Florida. But Ottawa, Philly, they should be able to get goals in those ones, assuming it is indeed Carey Price that plays. So yeah, Scary Carey, he's back, I guess, and he's been honestly pretty okay. It's just, you hate to see what the Canadiens are doing when they're playing in front of him. Sure, they're getting opportunities, and sure, they're getting their chances, but at the end of the day, they still put up donuts on the board, which is not ideal for a goaltender who has been one of the most important figures in the entire franchise for the 2010s, and in fact, even if you go beyond, like, the 2000s and the early 90s and, like, everything else, if you take a look at the grand scheme of things, Carey Price is a pretty important player in Canadiens lore, so having him return from all the stuff he had to deal with, amazing story. It's just the Habs, you cannot find a freaking goal for this guy. It's been almost a year, it's been 9 months since the guys have scored a goal for him, and that kind of blows my mind, so let me know in the comments your thoughts about the Canadiens and how Carey Price has been playing. Obviously, as I said, I haven't seen any of these games. I'm just kind of looking at what other people are saying and looking at the stats. Like, sure, they played well, but, you gotta show up better for Carey Price than that. I saw a lot of people memeing around, oh, this guy makes $10 million and he's not scoring any goals. Oh, 0 points in the last 3 games he has played when the Canadiens score 0 goals. I get it, that's a pretty big meme at this point, but at the end of the day, you could probably look at this season as just primer for next season. I mean, the Canadiens are now guaranteed, like, 7th overall in the NHL Draft, assuming they win the next few games they have, which is unlikely because they've got some pretty good opponents towards the end, but it is possible. The Canadiens have themselves some pretty good lottery odds. They've got some pretty good players that are probably going to use the offseason in the best way possible to recover. And you could just say, hey, they're gearing up for next year. Next year you have Marty St. Louis as the coach the entire time, and hopefully you have yourselves a much better record that sees you finishing better than second last in the league after you make the Stanley Cup freaking finals. So thank you, Mark Bergevin. Thank you, Kent Hughes. And we'll see who exactly gets traded, because there are a whole bunch of videos we can make about the status of the players on the Canadiens. Obviously, Brendan Gallagher is one I want to explore a little bit more too. The guy's only got like 3 goals on the year. It's crazy. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.